Welcome everyone, I am the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Langrisser Mobile. So it's currently still doing the elimination matches for the current season, but I decided to go ahead and do a video of a couple of matches I actually did in World Arena. World Arena is generally far less interesting and good compared to Apex Arena, which is honestly kind of a shame because there's honestly just kind of a couple of changes you can make to World Arena to actually make it kind of not horrible. The biggest the partial issue that World Arena has now is it has a lot of its old maps still, and the old maps were very small, to the point where you can literally kind of, as long as you have like 4 movement and maybe like 4 or 5 range, you can literally just walk. If you go first, you can literally just go up and AoE your opponent and take them out. They kind of made it a little bit better in World Arena because they started including some of the Apex maps, but it's completely random on what maps you get. The other issue with World Arena is the rules kind of change based off what rank you are. Bronze and lower, you essentially, it's just you pick 5 characters and you don't know what your opponent's picking. In silver, it is sort of a rotation pick where the first player will pick 1 and then the second player will pick 2. So essentially the ban pick minus the banning part. I've never been to gold or higher, so I don't know what the exact rules are for those, but I've heard it does kind of involve banning, but I don't know how it works. The other issue is for all the ranks, you cannot change skills for the characters you're selecting. In Apex, you can do that. You can change troops and skills, but in World Arena, you can only change troops. I have some ideas of why that is, maybe coding-wise, but it's still stupid. And so if you go to World Arena based off whatever. Also in Apex, you have your own setup for your characters. So you have your team formation, and it uses the stats from this. World Arena uses the stats from your actual PvE characters. So anything you have set here is set in stone, essentially. So if you forgot to bring, I don't know, your faction buff or, whatever combination of skills you're going to do for your opener for World Arena, well, you're going to have to just adapt on the fly. So yeah, like I said, it's so random on like what sort of opponents you get, but everyone still does World Arena, or they should be doing a World Arena, because obviously the rewards are generally, if you get yourself at least up to silver, you're guaranteed to get some decent ranking rewards for the season, and then based off what tier you get, as long as you get up to silver 3, you can at least get, silver 3 at least gets you some decent ranking rewards. As far as what ranking you're actually in. If you can get up to silver 2, you at least get crystals every day. The other issue, of course, is you D-rank an entire rank every week. So it's definitely something you got to keep on top of. There is some stuff set up where people are win trading to kind of go up the ranks. I've heard things where if you're like player 2 or whatever and you're playing against a human opponent, you're supposed to give up or something just to win trade. But as far as I know, I don't exactly know how it works, and not everyone keeps track of that type of information from the Discord. So people are just kind of doing whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I wanted to talk about World Arena, though, because I do want to show some matches for it, because this is pretty much one of the few opportunities where I'm actually going to be going up against the Dragonslayer. Unfortunately, World Arena's replay is far worse than Apex. It doesn't have any way for me to pause, so therefore I can't actually look at anyone's stats or anything like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and explain. I'm going to be showing off 2 matches. They were both against the same opponent, but the first one I was going to be player 1, the second one I'll be player 2. And despite the fact that we were able to see each other, what we're picking and stuff, it still ended up being kind of the same formation, which is kind of weird. But on my side, on both matches, I did Sovereign Ice Abyss. Originally, on the first match, I actually ran out of time, and it auto-picked her for me, mainly because I was just kind of distracted. But I have Sovereign Ice Abyss, Ilya, and Virelia, Christiane, and SPTRS, which I do have full TRS all the way fully SP'd up, so she has her skills and class. Here's the skills I went in with with Sovereign Ice Abyss, single target, Glacial Shackles with her 3C. She's bringing, of course, the Fairy Spirit Prophets as always. Virelia, I brought Sky Archers, and I brought her 3C, Heaven Sanction, and I brought Strengthen, mainly because you generally want Strengthen for an opener if you're doing the quick matches, the quick small map matches. It's far less useful in the big Apex maps, unfortunately. Ilya, pretty straightforward for her. All of her exclusives, and she's going with Fairy Spirit Prophets. She does have access to wizards, but I kind of like being able to reduce my reflect damage. Oh, and yeah, gear-wise, not much has really changed, to be honest. So that was Ilya. Christiane is somewhere down here. All right, Christiane. Christiane, I brought all of her exclusives, essentially, with, of course, her 3C. And then soldiers, I went with phalanxes. Going up against Dragonslayer, I did my best to avoid any sort of holy class troops. And since they had my opponent actually went with SP Leon, so I definitely wanted to not bring Fang Guards because those are infantry. Pretty straightforward there. And then SP TRS, all the way down here somewhere. Oh, there she is. SP TRS, I brought her new skill, which is Realm of Repose. It has a command aura of all allies within 3 blocks are immune to mobility reduction and take less fixed damage. The active, it's a 3 range, 3 span, 2 turn cooldown that dispels a debuff and then heals. That order is important because that is a way to get around some of the heal negation if you're lucky. But also, it will place a special terrain effect centered on the target, where it does a command aura which increases all defense and magic defense by 15%. And after taking action, anyone within the aura will also heal, which is great. It also has high terrain coverage, which is kind of useful as far as being overlapped by other terrains. Also, I guess this is our first time messing with SPTRS, so I'll go ahead and talk about her talent. So her talent is she grants every time she takes an action, she'll grant cure to all allies within 3 blocks. After taking damage, there's a 100% chance that they'll restore health. So this is far better than what her original was. Her original was it would only trigger based off actual combats, but this will trigger off of any sort of damage effect. So combat and AOEs, which is really helpful. It lasts for 2 turns. Also, when casting skills on allies, it will also put a shield of healing effect, which will block 3 times int of damage. Essentially gives them a shield, a HP shield. The shield does have a 1 turn cooldown. Oh no, sorry, it does not have a 2 cooldown. But also, whenever she does any sort of effect on allies, each ally she hits reduces the cooldown of her skills with the longest current cooldown by 1 up to 3 turns. This effect I didn't actually realize she had, and it's crazy because this pretty much means you can do back-to-back Realm Reposes. You can almost do back-to-back Miracles. The skills I did go with, of course, is Realm Repose, Miracle, and Heal. The Heal was mainly just there because of her exclusive. Some of the builds out there don't even bother with the exclusive anymore, but I do like having the opportunity to just do a 1-turn attack blessing from time to time. Soldiers, I went with Windbloom Chanters. She does have access to the SP soldiers, which are Holy Knights, but I went with Windbloom Chanters just because they can reduce cooldowns. It does reduce her movement down to 3. She does have 5 movement normally, and she does have flight movement, which is also helpful. Or no, not flight movement, but she has all-terrain movement. So yeah, pretty standard stuff. So I want to go ahead and talk about the characters. As for my opponent went with Sovereign of the Ice Abyss. I don't remember exactly what skills they had. I think theirs had the same skills as mine. They went with Ilya as well, which I think had the same skills as mine, and I think also the same troops. Went with Bright Summoner with Mage class. I don't remember what troops it went with, but she had everything else the same. The Holy Dragon Breath, and then both her summons. And then SP Leon, which I don't know what skills he had, but he was there. He did go with Werewolves as his troop, I believe, and then Dragonslayer went with Werewolves for his troop, obviously because he can reverse class disadvantage. So yeah, just want to talk about those before diving into this, so give me 1 moment. All right, I'll try to talk through this. I can't pause, but I'll try to show off as much as I can. So I go ahead and open with Christiane's buff, just in case they had some way of doing a first turn attack or something like that. what I was kind of shocked by is their Sovereign of the Ice Abyss is actually a cavalry, not flyer. But my opponent goes ahead and shifts down, uses pull on Dragonslayer, who's immune to displacement, and just kind of chains them both so she can drag them both with her 3C AoE. So of course the idea here is if I try to do any sort of kills, it's going to enrage Dragonslayer and then kind of go nuts. I mostly was concerned about Ilya, so I go ahead and move to try to kill her first, and I also put the chain on her so I can get first strike. This will of course piss off Dragonslayer, but at the very least I won't have to worry about Ilya. My plan here was to be like, alright, I just need to make sure I can survive Dragonslayer and kind of kill everything, and then worry about all the self-reses later. So my goal wasn't really to try to get through all the self-reses, it was more just to try to soften him up so he doesn't have first strike, and to try to debuff him as much as I can. Thanks to my accessory, I was able to move just out of range of his aura. So the way Dragonslayer's aura works when he's enraged is anyone within 3 spaces of him, when he ends his turn, or when the unit ends their turn, will get immediately attacked with a normal attack by him. It bypasses guard, bypasses everything. It can be very devastating depending on what his HP and stats are at. Also, just a reminder, he does have reverse disadvantage, which means he gets a huge buff when he fights anything holy related. So TRS goes ahead and buffs everybody, and this is when I learned that TRS actually can reduce her own cooldowns. So she's actually able to do this buff back to back as long as she hits multiple targets, which is pretty crazy. So this rush strat was kind of messy. I've already killed one of their units. Dragonslayer, of course, is a monster in himself. But Bright Summoner is in no position to actually close in, and Leon is also kind of out of position. So I actually go ahead and move away using Strengthen on myself just to kind of cycle my actions. I'm 4 spaces away so I don't provoke Dragonslayer. I'm going to do Eliminate so I can put as much damage and debuffs on Dragonslayer as possible. So I'm going to do 3C here. Does some pretty good damage. And it looks like one of the debuffs was something attack related. He does get healed by fixed damage, so that's what happened there, I think. I don't know exactly how it works. But since he is below 100% HP, so he had lower HP than me, he doesn't get first strike, but he does heal after combat based off damage. But at the very least, this ensures I don't die from his stupid little aura nonsense. So I go ahead and do Sacred Repulsion here. This is mainly just to not only do some damage, but also force Dragonslayer away from us. Also, I think Dragonslayer's aura reduces our mobility a little bit, because I noticed I was not able to move as much. So I kind of push him away just to make sure I don't get attacked by his stupid aura. So at this point, I'm going to get tapped with Abyssal Ice Prison. This, of course, will do some damage. Tiaras' little talent is putting in work, giving us extra healing. Remember what I said about Tiaras' little terrain thing she can do with her new skill? It actually has higher priority than these ice glaciers, so it actually didn't double tap Christiane, so she didn't get frozen. It wouldn't have worked anyway because she does have her accessory, which I think is still actually disabled. In any case, Ilya, I go ahead and use this opportunity to act again so I can expand my aura and then blast it with 3C, which will further expand my aura further. This, of course, will keep angering Dragonslayer, but I don't really care. Like I said, my target is just to keep him below 100% HP and kind of just go from there. So it does Disdain of Dragons here, which I don't really know what does. I go ahead and put up Floral Regalia. I already have gotten enough kills to get rid of the Evolution stacks, so this is going to make it so I have first strike on defend. So with this, I'm going to actually hit Dragonslayer pretty hard. Also, despite the fact I have combat animations on, it doesn't seem like it shows... It doesn't like to show all of them, and I don't know why. So unfortunately, we're just going to have what we got right now. So at this point, Dragonslayer is really low on HP, which is completely fine by me. My opponent kind of gets cold feet and starts trying to get outside of Ilya's aura, which is a fool's errand, because you're never going to escape. So at this point, I go ahead and move in, do Heaven's Sanction. This is going to kill Sovereign of the Ice Abyss. This will get rid of a Fury stack. So one thing to note, despite the fact that he has a built-in self-res for his, one of his passives, he actually uses his Fury reses first, which is important because every time he uses a Fury res, he loses max HP. So by the time he's actually down to his last self-res, he actually doesn't have much HP left. But it did trigger the self-res and then triggered his rage, so that he did get the self-res back. But like I said, it is weakening him. I make a bit of an error here, but there wasn't really much I can do about it. I'm within 3 spaces. He has 100% life. And unfortunately, I'm just going to get hit here really hard. I have Holy Troops and Holy Class. And even with his debuff, he's just 50,000 with a regular attack. Just flat out kills me. So at this point, I do lose my healer. But I still outnumber my opponent. And at this point, I was kind of curious because I had already gotten rid of the butterfly. So I was like, well, what if I... can I stun you? So I hit him with the chain, and then hit him with the single target here, which will get kill, further debuffing his life. But more importantly, it is going to freeze him. So now he can't do anything. His aura will not trigger even while he's stunned, so we're good on that front. And we do still have Tiaras' aura, talent buff, and we still have the aura from from her spellcast. So we're just getting tons of HP even after she's dead, which is really helpful. So I go ahead and dispel the accessory on Dragonslayer here. I'm going to hit with 3C, and this one's animated. I wonder if it's just applying it to my attacks. I don't know. Even though I have it set to everybody. Alright, so yeah, my opponent just kind of hangs out in the back there. I could have gotten kill on Bright Summoner if I really... Actually, no, I couldn't have. I just got those aura stacks. In any case, I do strengthen here just so I can cycle my turns a little faster. All my stuff's on cooldown, so I'm just going to go ahead and just do a regular attack, which pretty much almost kills him. As you probably noticed, he had below 10,000 HP at this point because of all of his self-reses. Also, the previous self-res, he has no Fury stacks now, so he doesn't actually have his aura. Go ahead and get my attack off. Get his actual kill in here, which gives him a 50% health self-res. And anytime he's below the HP of the target, the thing he's fighting, he gets health back based off how much damage he does. If he has equal or higher, he gets first strike. And with this, I just kind of wear him down. And at this point, my opponent just gives up because I'm just going to end up killing everything with Ilya. Do remember that once Ilya gets a certain number of stacks, it does debuff everyone's mobility within the aura. Also, anyone within the aura gets increased defense and stuff like that, so that also helps. So yeah, a lot of the work was done by Sovereign of the Ice Abyss in the beginning. Obviously, we used Brillia to do a lot of the debuffing and weakening of Dragonslayer. Tiaras was great with her passive healing. That was a lot of helpful. And then Ilya was kind of just there to kind of push everything away, just to buy me some breathing room while Christiane tanks. So all pretty straightforward stuff. I do go up against this guy again as player 2. Since my opponent didn't offer to give up as player 2, I didn't do this. I didn't give the same courtesy either. So we'll go ahead and see how that match goes. All right. So in this one, we're player 2, same map. Even though we could see, we obviously knew who each other were. My opponent didn't opt to change anything as far as what he chose, and I ended up picking the same stuff as well. Like I said, it was based off rotation picks. No bans, but you do pick. So I did kind of pick things in a certain order to try to see if my opponent would counterpick. As you can see, my opponent did the exact same opener, but this time I changed things up on my end. Obviously, I'll go second, so I don't have Christiane's buff active this time. But I go ahead and I do the chain on Dragonslayer, because at this point I do know that he's not immune to fixed damage. Or not fixed damage, stun. I also noted he didn't have a butterfly at this point. Oh, I think I know what it was. I think he steals people's accessory buffs. I think that's what it was. So I think he stole my accessory buff off of Christiane. In any case, he's now stunned, so I don't really need to worry about him until we get another kill. If we do get another kill, it can be kind of dangerous. Technically, Yeah, currently I was outside of guard range. I go ahead and move Christiane up so I can get everyone in guard range at this point. Get the 3C active. I go ahead and use this opportunity to go ahead and do Haven Sanction. And I have one-shot. I'm a little surprised there. I didn't expect a one-shot there, Sovereign of the Ice Abyss. I don't know how, that seemed really weak. So I was actually surprised I got a kill there. I wasn't expecting it, so unfortunately this does mean he gets rid of a debuff. Everyone's in guard range, so at least we're safe on that front. And then he opts to, of course, steal all my accessory buffs again. Or my gear buffs, rather. Does some pretty good damage, but still pretty safe at this point. So at this point, I go ahead and do Sacred Repulsion from as far away as I could, just to ensure I don't get hit while staying in guard range. So this only pushed him away one space, but that is still better than my other options, because I can only move 2 steps with the TRS because of whatever thing he's doing that's reducing my movement. So again, I go ahead and heal everybody up as much as I could. And of course, every time I heal with TRS here, or do ability with her, I can actually reduce everyone's attack cooldowns. So here comes Bright Summoner. This time she's actually going to be able to do something. She's only going to hit Sovereign of the Ice Abyss here. And then I'm actually going to get hit here because obviously 3C Summon can actually bypass guard. And it's in terrain, so yeah, I'm just going to get wrecked here. Yeah, plenty of damage. Did give me an Effulgence, get rid of an Effulgence stack, which is always helpful. So at this point, I go ahead and just put up some shielding here, and kind of use this opportunity to expand my range further. Shift the summon down a little, and I go ahead and debuff my Dragonslayer here. I was really just hoping to weaken him, but I think I actually get kill here. Which is still useful, it does debuff his HP. Oh yeah, that was way overkill. Also getting rid of his accessory buff for a little bit is also helpful. But yeah, he's still at 100% life though, which is always annoying. But also, I wasn't really too worried about Bright Summoner now, because she kind of blew her load. Her summon still has an AoE, but that's about it. And Christiane hasn't had an action yet, so that's why she hasn't been able to get her first strike up yet. But as you can see, all the passive healing here. I go ahead and move away again, the same trick as I did before. Just outside of range. Get Eliminate active. It didn't go up last time because I did do a damage attack on the first round. I also kind of use this opportunity to kind of inch away from my opponent. What's also really, I shouldn't really underestimate, but how much this aura from Ilya is holding back Leon. Leon can only move like 4 spaces and then another 2 with Chivalry thanks to the debuff mobility. I did get Silence off, as you probably noticed with Dragonslayer. That being said, he's probably already done everything he could care to do. So at this point, I go ahead and take the risk and see if I can survive a hit from Dragonslayer, because he only has 45% life this time, so no first strike. And I'm at full health. And he's debuffed. And yeah, still did quite a bit of damage to me. And this is going to give him a lot of life back. Or not. Maybe I have heal negation. I don't know what I have on him right now. Also, I don't remember if I've mentioned this, but I think Dragonslayer has something that makes it so he heals from fixed damage. In any case, since I passed turn within range, it did force him to attack into first strike. So I was able to just take away his self-reses using his own talent against him. And as you can see, it was quite effective, because now he can't do anything. His rage is off. I did get hit with a bunch of terrain here. Again, Tiaris's little aura does have priority. It only takes up 1 tile, though. So I go ahead and use this opportunity to go ahead and hit Dragonslayer again. which managed to get kill. So now he has no self-res left, and he's at 50% life. So I go ahead and attack with Virelia here. His HP is literally, yeah, he's gone. So again, back down to Bright Summoner and Leon left. Does have their summon, but my opponent opts to give up again. And yeah, doesn't really change the fact that I will definitely still ban him, because as you can see, he's kind of a pain to deal with. His teleport AoE range thing is, I think it's three distance in a straight line. But once he gets next to you, you're kind of in a situation where you're just like, you need to be able to somehow deal with his stupid aura attacking you again and again. Obviously, characters like Christiane can help with that. But in Apex, there's no guarantee that I will have Christiane when that happens. And there's also other combinations that could make things a lot worse. My opponent made the same mistake twice in a row, which was just rushing in with 3 units when I can easily out-tank it. Now, to be fair, there wasn't really much my opponent could do once the choices were made. If he had taken his time, I would have just used that opportunity to expand my aura as far as possible with Ilya, and then just gradually one-shot each one of their units until nothing was left. Like I said, the ways to handle Dragonslayer is to kind of take advantage of the fact that he's forced to attack you. But the only way to do that is to make sure you can reduce his HP enough so he's below your HP so he doesn't get first strike. And obviously, you either need to start wailing on him as quickly as possible so he runs out of reses and gets weakened by his own reses, or you just get him weakened enough that you can endure his hits and then just kill everything else around him so he gets less benefits from the allies dying around him. And yeah. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing this. Like I said, I unfortunately can't pause it or anything like that because it's World Arena, but I figured this would be a good opportunity to go ahead and show off Dragonslayer as well as SPTRs. One thing I do want to go over with SPTRS is she did actually have one other new skill, which is a passive. Which is this one. 1-cost passive, Ward of Holy Light. Normal attack range is increased by 2, and you deal 1.5 times damage. So her normal attacks suddenly become stronger. If she's equipped with ranged soldiers, the soldiers will also attack at this range. And after actively attacking and dealing damage, you actually heal people equal to 2 times the casters and to all allies with cure or healing, which obviously you're going to get cure or healing because of her talent, of course. So yeah, the only reason I'm not bringing that is because I do still want to take advantage of her exclusive equipment, which requires a single target skill to be equipped, which is a little unfortunate. I may end up just dropping this for something else, which is what most people do because her AoE skills are just better now. As for SP troops, I do have 2 of them at this point. I've been grinding out a lot of the gym stuff that I've been doing with auto battles. I have everything except for the demons unlocked SP troop classes. I'm actually 1 away from unlocking that, but once I get that, I'll have everything caught up. So, in any case, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I am the Depressed Dealer. This was Langrisser Mobile. I will see you guys probably when the next season starts. See ya.